In this podcast episode, Heather MacDonald discusses the degradation of academic life on American college campuses, particularly focusing on the abandonment of the mission to pass on a civilizational legacy. She criticizes the shift towards oppression studies and the teaching of hatred towards Western civilization. She highlights the rise of anti-Semitism on campuses, attributing it to the belief that Jews represent Western civilization and are therefore targeted by intersectional coalitions. MacDonald reflects on her own experience as a student in the 1970s, where she was influenced by deconstruction theory, but later became disillusioned with its fanciful nature. She recalls a pivotal moment in the 1980s at Stanford University when students protested against a requirement to study Western civilization, signaling a turning point in the prioritization of knowledge transmission in universities. MacDonald criticizes universities for becoming fraudulent institutions that prioritize censorship and political agendas over academic rigor. She points out the lack of intellectual leadership among faculty and trustees, who have failed to uphold the responsibility of curating and passing on the civilizational inheritance to students. She emphasizes the importance of universities in fostering gratitude, humility, and joy towards the intellectual legacy of the past. The conversation delves into the power dynamics between students and faculty, with MacDonald noting a shift where students now hold more influence and authority on campuses. She attributes this change to the rise of youth culture and consumerism, which have empowered adolescents and marginalized the role of adults in educational institutions. MacDonald recounts a disturbing incident at Yale University where students verbally attacked a respected psychologist, Nicholas Christakis, for defending free speech and intellectual freedom. Despite the confrontation, Yale awarded two of the student leaders with a racial justice prize, highlighting the university's capitulation to student demands and the inversion of authority. MacDonald criticizes the lack of accountability and courage among university administrators and faculty in addressing issues of censorship, political bias, and student activism. She highlights the need for intellectual leadership and a return to the core mission of universities in transmitting knowledge and fostering critical thinking. MacDonald points out that dehumanization is a part of anti-Semitism and emphasizes the importance of addressing such behavior. She discusses a viral exchange where college presidents were questioned about whether calling for the genocide of Jews violates Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment. While MacDonald acknowledges the demagogic nature of the question, she agrees with the president's stance that speech should only be punishable if it turns into conduct or harassment. She emphasizes the importance of upholding codes of conduct and rules against bullying and harassment, particularly in cases of hate speech targeting specific groups. The conversation delves into the hypocrisy of universities when it comes to free speech and diversity. MacDonald criticizes the universities for claiming to uphold free expression while simultaneously engaging in censorship and bias. She mentions instances where professors faced backlash for expressing views contrary to the mainstream narrative, highlighting the lack of true intellectual diversity on campuses. MacDonald discusses the erosion of meritocracy in academic and professional settings. She provides examples of how diversity initiatives have led to the lowering of standards in fields such as air traffic control and medical admissions. She argues that prioritizing diversity over merit can have dangerous consequences, as seen in the increase in near collisions involving commercial airlines due to the hiring of less qualified air traffic controllers. MacDonald also highlights the challenges to scientific merit posed by the current discourse on race and diversity. She criticizes the narrative that science itself is racist and argues that the scientific method is universal and based on rationality, not the identity of the scientists. She points out the danger of undermining scientific excellence by prioritizing diversity over objective qualifications. MacDonald challenges the notion of white privilege, arguing that in today's society, being a straight white male puts one at a disadvantage. She emphasizes the importance of personal responsibility and the role of family structure in shaping individuals' opportunities and outcomes. She argues that the skills gap, particularly in academic achievement, plays a crucial role in disparities seen in institutions. MacDonald points out that the overrepresentation of blacks in certain areas, such as the prison population, is not solely due to racism, but also elevated rates of criminal offending within the black community. She challenges the idea that discrimination is always the cause of disparities, emphasizing the need to address the root causes of societal issues rather than attributing them solely to racism. The discussion also touches on the impact of family structure on individuals' opportunities and outcomes. MacDonald highlights the importance of two-parent households and the role of parents in instilling values and habits that contribute to success. She argues that cultural norms within certain communities, such as the stigma around academic achievement, can hinder progress and perpetuate disparities. She emphasizes the need for a shift towards personal responsibility and a focus on changing cultural attitudes to promote success and upward mobility. MacDonald addresses the changes in the criminal justice system following the George Floyd race riots, expressing concern about the unwinding of law enforcement efforts. She highlights the impact of reduced policing on communities, particularly in addressing crime and maintaining public safety. She emphasizes the voices of law-abiding residents in inner-city communities who advocate for more police presence to address criminal activities. She challenges the narrative that focuses solely on police racism and calls for a more nuanced understanding of the complexities surrounding crime and public safety. In a broader context, MacDonald reflects on the beauty and richness of Western civilization, emphasizing the importance of cultural and artistic achievements. She encourages individuals to engage with the great works of literature, music, and art that have shaped our society. She underscores the value of cultural heritage and the significance of preserving and appreciating the achievements of past generations. She urges a deeper exploration of the cultural and artistic treasures that contribute to the richness of human experience.